Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. You're listening to Radio Ramadan on 87.7 FM. I'm your host this morning from 11 o'clock till 12 o'clock. My name is Zafar Haq, and we're here on a bright, lovely, absolutely beautiful Sunday morning. MashaAllah, it's a great weather out there. Happy Ramadan to everybody, and I hope everybody's enjoying their Roza and being able to fast. I'm on Roza number 4. I think some people might be on Roza number 5, but I'm sure I might be able to catch up on some way at the end, I'm sure. But I hope everybody's enjoying Ramzan, and Ramzan Mubarak to everybody. And let's make sure that it's a blessed and peaceful month for everybody, and we get our ibadah done during this holy month of Ramadan. I'm here talking with, this is the NHS and Health and Wellbeing show. So we're talking about well-being of everybody who lives in the city and further afield. We'll be talking about different topics. We'll be talking about shisha smoking, vaping. We'll be talking about children health. We'll also be talking about other things over the next 4 weeks. But today we've got special guests in the studio today, and we're talking about autism and special needs children. We're talking about what makes them special, how can we help them, what we're doing, and what we should be doing as a community as well to help our young children who have these issues, and how we can help them and make sure they reach their maximum potential. So I'm joined in the studio by Shabana. Thank you very much, Sister Shabana, and also Sister Hawa for coming in and talking to us. Welcome to Radio Ramadan.
Thank you for having us.
So we're going to be talking about autism, and if you've got any comments that you want to make or any text, or you want to call into the studio, the telephone number is 077 488 555 So if you want any issue, if you've got any questions or any queries that you've got, please give us a call on that number or text in on the number that's there. So first of all, can I ask you, Shabana, or Hava, what is autism, and how do parents find out that the child might have autism?
Okay, so Assalamu alaikum. I'm Hawa. I have done a comprehensive study. I have a PhD which looked at autism in the Muslim community. So I'll tell you the current definition of what autism is. Basically, it's a lifelong neurodevelopment difference that affects how a person perceives the world, processes information, interacts with others. It's not an illness, so it doesn't have a cure.
And many people think it's an illness.
It's not an illness.
It's not an illness.
And neither is it a mental health condition. Okay, so
Right.
like I mentioned, it's a neurodevelopmental difference. Okay, so with autism, again, the terminology has changed throughout the decades. That it was just autism, then it was autism spectrum disorder. But as we stand, it's autism spectrum condition. Yeah. So it has core characteristics. So we have things like, the two main ones are social communication interaction differences. So you have things that include difficulties reading social cues, interpreting body language, facial expressions, understanding sarcasm, and taking things very literally. These are just some of the examples. And then we have things like restricted, repetitive patterns of behavior, interests, or activities. So this includes a strong need for routine, to be able to predict something, intense focus interest. Sometimes this is very positive for them. And stimming, repetitive movements like shaking or moving back and forth or anything like that. So these are some of the core characteristics that fall into two categories.
I was looking at the list, and I was absolutely amazed at the list of famous people who are autistic. It allows them to go over and beyond, and sometimes give them intensely focused, unique abilities, way over and beyond ordinary people.
That's correct.
Which sounds, unbelievable, really, when you think about it. So some of the people are Greta Thunberg, the campaigner. We've got also Chris Peckham, the TV presenter. Or and Albert Einstein is also listed as one of the figures that could have had autism. Sir Isaac Newton, Charles Darwin, because they are totally focused on what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And actually, it's almost like it's a gift in some senses.
It is, absolutely.
It is. I mean, to elaborate more on the categories, we look at sensory processing differences. this is important as we're talking about children's health. So autistic people often experience the world more or less intensely than others. So you've got hypersensitivity and hyposensitivity. So sometimes a child or an adult individual would actually have acute hearing because they're sensitive to the noise. Even a drop of pin, the actual
Noise.
they can actually pick it up. So or tactile issues like not liking certain types of touch textures, so you might see them wearing the same type of top or their favorite top
Time and time again.
Yeah.
So and so you see it's a spectrum, so the profile can be spiky.
So it can be from one extreme to the other extreme, or somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, it's a mix of high abilities,
High abilities and lower abilities.
Yeah.
And we were just discussing pre the show that quite a few people who are Hafizes can actually focus who can be autistic can focus on actually become a Hafiz because of the rhythms of the Quran and reading the Quran.
Well, when I was doing my PhD, my paper is due to be published soon. It does take note of a study that was done in Malaysia and Indonesia about Quran, especially when you read it with Tajweed, there's a rhythm to it. So some of the people who are autistic that read the Quran in that rhythm actually have a calming effect, and thus they can actually cram it better. So they can become Hafiz.
And how does if you've got a child who you suspect is lacking that attention and sometimes can pick up all those little noises and behave in that manner, how do you get them diagnosed, and what is that a help by getting them diagnosed so that they can get supported?
I mean, there is controversy in terms of people saying it's a label, some people saying they don't want a label. But as you know, the way we work in the UK is without a label, there's not much support you can actually get.
So you need the label. You
do need a
need
label.
to know what the child has
So
in order to deal with the problem.
Yes, exactly. Even the schools would want to know what the child has so they can cater for that child's needs. With autism, majority of people find out after the child is 2.
Yeah.
Because the behavior manifests much later.
Yeah.
The behaviors.
Yeah.
So so you'll have things like, I'll talk about the main ones, like avoiding eye contact, not answering to their names, playing by themselves, or repeating something, repetitive behavior, or arranging things in a certain manner, having things in a certain manner, or stimming. And for those who are non-verbal, there will be more steaming because they're frustrated, they can't express, they can't.
When you mean steaming, what do you mean?
I mean things like,
they get stressed very quickly.
Yes, this is their way of handling a meltdown, regulating themselves. So some would be like moving back and forth, some would be flapping their hands, some would be biting themselves, some would be making sounds, steaming sounds.
Steamy sounds.
Yeah. Just wanted to give an example of how
so I was
with
Shabani,
my
come in,
I was just
give you an example of your personal experience.
Yeah, so with my son, at 2-year stage, they do a development check with your health visitors, and that's when we notice that he's not developing the same as my daughter. But as everybody says, everybody develops at different stages. It should be okay, and the health visitors actually stated that we need to keep an eye on him, and that's when we slowly started seeing all the different signs. He's 7 years old now. He's still not diagnosed, but because he's got the development delay label, because of that label, he receives the right support at the moment. So as a parent, I really struggled because I didn't know much about it. There wasn't much talk in our community. Some of the older people would say in our community, oh, he's just a boy, he's going to grow out of it. But that's not the case. I knew as a parent, as a mum, my child needed that support. So we got out and we got that support. He's currently in school with the EACP. He's getting the right support. But with my son, it's more the sensory needs. But he's quite smart. He sits there doing these amazing puzzles on tablets. And I watch him and I think, I wouldn't have got that right. But you're 7 years old and you're doing some amazing things. Having that development delay label has allowed me to, at least, so I would say to parents that don't hang around to get that diagnosis, get the support when you can.
On the same note, like Shabana mentioned, a lot of people who have autism or who are under the neurodiverse umbrella get the label global development disorder. What does a disorder mean? Is when they don't know what it is. So basically, we need to dig more into this instead of just accepting the global developmental disorder. I mean, how can we have a global development disorder? I mean, are we all the same globally?
No.
Who is measuring all that?
No.
Yeah, no, exactly. And Shabana, how did you find? I mean, you must have reached a point where you were stressed and thinking, my child's different to what I was expecting. And how did you deal with that mentally yourself? Because there's a point, that you go through that you think, why me and what happened?
Yeah, you start questioning yourself. Did I do something wrong while I was pregnant? You know, all those kind of things come into your mind. But I think for me, it was having the right advice and the support from the right people. And then Autism Hub was there, and that's been going on at the Peace Centre for many years now. So that's
Mashallah,
where it was.
Great
Honestly, it's every 6 weeks at the Peace Centre, where it enables parents and young children, any age children.
And I think that is a great example of the Peace Centre, and actually reaching out to all communities, because any
it's
background
open to
doesn't have
all.
to be Muslim, any background,
Everybody.
people come along.
Yeah.
And actually, I think, to be honest, I would like to see more mosques and more masjids doing that across the city, because that's the real work.
Yeah, no,
And that's the real,
real,
reaching out.
Yeah.
And that's what Islam is about, I'm pretty sure.
Thanks for mentioning that. In terms of mosques and madrasas, I've worked with a lot of parents. I do a lot of workshops. I mean, I've actually, when I did my PhD, I looked at autism from an Islamic lens. And there's so much to talk about, so much support, like in terms of how to teach and how to support these children in madrasas is very, very vital at the moment. It's imperative that we actually get these imams or madrasa tutors together and do a session on that, and also mosques becoming inclusive.
And that's really important, because big campaign sort of on the NHS, and I was recently just happened to be watching the Good Doctor.
Yeah.
And I would recommend everybody who's out there after
Absolutely
Ramzan,
love it, yeah.
obviously not during Ramzan, but after Ramzan, please make sure you go and watch The Good Doctor. Mm-hmm. It's a great opportunity to look at people with autism and special needs in a totally different light. And after you watch even a few of those episodes, I'm pretty sure you'll come back and you'll think to yourself, these are special people.
Yeah. No.
And they are. And we need to make sure that we look after them and nurture them, and maybe learn of how to deal with them.
Yeah.
So that not just even if you've not got a child with autism, but just generally learn how to help support other families and other people with autism.
Basically channel their interest and their strengths into a more productive way.
Yeah, I think
where they're happy doing it and the world's a better place in terms of they're more included. I mean, there's one thing I can tell you: if you employ a person with autism, we as neurodiversity support have ensured, like, some people have been employed through us. We've managed to train them, support them, got them employment. They're one of the best workers you'll get. They are very honest, very efficient.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have
and very straight, because very straight. They
they follow the rules.
Follow the rules to the T.
Yeah.
They're great workers.
And actually, if you watch the Good Doctor program, it shows you how much better they are, and it also shows you that the people working around them, once they learn about how to deal with them, the support that they can give, and actually how much forward they can move, is unbelievable, really.
And I think that's our main aim, is not just to get the right support for the child, but also to educate the community, to let them know that, you just need to be, give that individual a bit more time or a bit more space, or, don't touch them maybe. Those kind of education, I feel one of the main things we do want to do educate the community as well about how you can support that individual. It's not just on that individual to say, I have autism, so I can't go somewhere because of this. We want it to be an open world.
It's almost like you need to get the extended family together.
Yeah.
Yes.
And actually say to them, everybody and friends as well,
Yeah.
and say, look, this is our child. This is how to help deal with him.
Yeah.
And almost do like a training session
Yeah. Yeah.
with them to say, actually, if he's like this, do this, do this.
Yeah.
Because once you know, it's so easy, isn't it?
It is so easy. I think one of the examples we can give is a family that used to attend the autism hub. So I think it was just a mum and a child, and she'd talk about how, you know, her in-laws would say, you know, this isn't right and things like that. And then we encouraged her to bring her mother-in-law in, to say, bring her in, let her see what it's all about.
Yeah.
She came in, and now she's one of the volunteers
Yes,
as well.
she
Now
is.
she's actually
Wow.
turned into a volunteer because she saw that it's a neurodivergent, you know, thing, that support that the child needs. It's not nothing, you know, to worry about. It's not a disease. It's not nothing to stress about. It's about giving that individual the right support. And the grandmother built more of a stronger bond with that child, which, you know, it was beautiful
Yeah,
for
and
us
most
to see.
importantly, it's not the mother's fault.
No.
Yeah, exactly. You're listening to Radio Ramadan on 87.87 FM. You're listening to the Health and Wellbeing Show. I'm the host, Zafar Haq. We're talking about autism. If you've got a child with autism, or you've had an experience, or you've got any issues, or you've got any help that you might want, please give us a call, or you can message us. The telephone number or the text number is 077 488 55055. I'll repeat the number again, 077 488 55055. We're talking about autism, so if there's any questions you might have or any ideas that you might have to help these children, that would be great. So please join in the conversation. Shabana and Hava, thank you very much for coming in this morning. But one of the other questions that I've, you know, that maybe people have always asked, do you think there's enough help out there?
No. I think
and
as
do you think as Asian families, I'm just going to say broadly,
Yeah.
Asian families, do we understand enough
No.
in comparison?
You see, we have an issue, when you say Asian, we have an issue of intersectionality. We're not only discriminated because of our race, our religion, probably being a woman. There's so many reasons for, and I'm not saying that because of this, the system is not working. It's because I mean, from my research, I've gathered that people from the Muslim, especially the Asian community, are the ones who don't know what's going on in terms of how to get support.
So we're further behind than
Yes,
anybody
we
else.
are.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
And you both think that?
Yeah, we both agree on that.
We agree on that, yeah.
I mean, you know, just since we started Neurodiversity Support CIC, when you attend meetings and events, you see people from other race quite a lot more than within our own culture, which is a shame because, you know, there's events that, you know, individuals, counsellors, people that set up these events for you, and it's free. So they should utilise these and get the information and get the support. You know, it's there for you. I mean, just us for Neurodiversity Support, we provide a lot of different support, from a cafe every 2 weeks to boxing to support and advocacy. So if you're not sure about what benefits your child is eligible for or what support you need, we can provide that support. And that's one of the main reasons I think the Autism Hub was going. A lot of parents were stating, look, there's lack of support, there's lack of support. So we thought, you know, the three of us, Hawa, Shamina and myself, we're all mothers of a child with autism, and we've all seen it in different ways, and we thought, well, we need to do something. So we started up this Neurodiversity Support CIC. From there, we've set up something called Cafe Neuro, which is a cafe that runs every 2 weeks at St. Peter's Church, that enables a neurodiverse individual to come in and, you know, just socialize, or if they want to actually learn and get the experience of making the teas and coffees, taking the orders, counting the cash, that's what it's for. So, you know, we're doing what we can, but we do need the community to support us, to attend the events, to get the information, you know, to be, you know, involved, volunteer.
We have a unique method of training these individuals. We are culturally sensitive as well.
Yes.
Yeah. But you know, one of the questions, you know, that I think most people will have is, why has it taken so long for a community and the size of the community, of Asian community in Leicester, taken so long before we've got to this particular point where we're beginning to realise that we need to do something about this? And how long How long did people struggle in the past? There must have been people who had children in the past with autism.
Yeah, stigma is the word.
Stigma.
I mean, you know, bless her soul, the last time I spoke to Manjula Sood, she was at an event and she was explaining as a mother what she went through. And she said, she literally cried and said, I'm so glad that there's organisation like yourselves out there, so mothers like me don't have to struggle.
You mentioned Manjula's name, and I've got to pay a tribute to her.
Of course, please.
We've lost one of our
Greatest.
number one citizens in Leicester. For all communities, the actual support she gave me, even though I'm totally an opposition member and everything else, I've known her for over 25, 30 years, and what an amazing, what a peaceful person and such a great leader of the communities and working with everybody.
Yeah, and that's
supporting
the word,
everybody.
community. She would be at every Eid festival, a Hindu festival, Sikh festival, anybody that would invite her, even if it's for 10 minutes, she would show up. She would come and show her face. She would say hello.
She would be the first person to bring in dates during Ramzan in the council. And it's really sad that we've lost somebody. She was an iconic figure in our city, a mother figure to lots of people across the city. And you know, supporting great work like yours and like lots of other people.
No, definitely.
But you can imagine, you know, as you said, she looked back over the last 50 years, 60 years in Leicester.
Yeah.
There was nothing
there
like
was
this,
nothing
was
at all.
We have another issue regarding autism is when it comes to girls being diagnosed, especially in our Asian ethnic minority communities, because there's a stigma attached to it. It's like because I don't know why some parents think the ultimate goal for a girl is to get married, so they would not actually go for the diagnosis process thinking, oh, nobody would marry my daughter, because there's a label attached to her. And the other thing is obvious, and of course we are aware that women mask it better. They mask autism traits better than men, boys, and that's why they are underdiagnosed. Right. Yeah.
And do you feel at this moment in time, obviously you've set up your charity, which is called Neurodiversity. So do you feel that we're in a better place now, or is there still lots more to do?
There's a lot more to do.
Honestly, I mean, for the last few years, all we're seeing is cuts. So cuts to the transport services. Now they want to cut the EACPs. It's not going in the right direction, to be honest. For us, like an grassroots organisation trying to make it better, this is just going to have a big impact on us, because these parents will then struggle. They'll need the advocacy support, the EACP support. They'll need someone to help and guide them. And, you know, we're kind of, you know, put our own money into this organisation to keep it afloat, and we don't have much funding. So if this kind of happens and the rolling impact is going to have on grass education like ourselves, it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. And I don't see anything in the horizon about funding towards this. And, you know, I don't know if you can tell me anything different from...
With my other hat on, there's not much funding coming down the line, and the reality is that we've got to fight for every penny of funding for every little project. Honestly. And that's not just in Leicester, but that's across the country. And the reality is the people who shout the loudest will get what they need. And as a community, we don't shout loud enough, particularly on these kind of things, because they're so valuable to our community. It makes, I mean, just having those things, how much does a difference it makes in your lives?
I mean, the work itself, I mean,
the actual having the hub at the Peace Centre.
Honestly,
I think it's a game changer. I must say, it's a game changer. I mean, initially when we started, we didn't have the fathers coming in. Now we have fathers volunteering as well. So again, we have actually brought down these barriers. We've actually overcome some of the stigma that's attached in our community. It's much needed, and there's a lot more to be done.
Yeah, and I don't think we should just be concentrating on the young children, because
what it's adults as well now, isn't it?
Yeah, so as soon as they turn sort of 18, 19, the government says it's your choice. if you want to carry on with education. And what we found that a lot of parents are coming to us and saying that my child is now into gaming addiction or is isolated or depressed because there's nothing else there is out there in the community for them to go out and do, which means they're turning into other things, whether it's substance misuse or, you know, gaming addiction or, you know, being depressed.
You see, I mean, some of the businesses that we've approached, they think it's like, they see it from a deficit view, like, you know, slow worker wouldn't know what to do, we'll need another worker to support.
Or those additional training we have to give them.
But we are willing to do all that as long as we have businesses coming forth to say, look,
and
we are willing to employ.
Yeah. So we're talking about autistic children and autistic adults now.
Yeah.
We're on Radio Ramadan 87.7 FM. You're listening to the Health and Wellbeing Show. The telephone number, if you want to call in or you want a message, is 077 488 55055. Or you can message us on Facebook or on the YouTube channel as well. So please send us a message or any questions you might have or any ideas that you might have. We're talking about employment for these young adults.
Yes.
And I think that's really, really important. You know, when you see the ability of these young people who have autism, it's a real big positive. It's not a negative. But we've got to get that message out there to business people and people who employ, across the city and the county to say, actually, they will benefit your business.
Yeah. No, we've taken on 2 individuals, and one of the individual, honestly, she is so bright. Every time we're at an event, anything to do with money, we leave it with her. We honestly trust her because she does amazing work. She counts every penny. She will even write down all the income coming in and things like honestly, we've never had to.
So they don't do 100%, they do 200%, basically.
Yes, 100. Yeah. You just need to give them that time and space.
And they have good. Some of them have very good memory. You know, we rely on our phones sometimes, but they know this date, this time, this is what you wore, and this is what happened.
You said.
Well, I'll mention it again because if you watch The Good Doctor, you can't miss but realise how gifted these autistic people really are.
My son's autistic and he's 24 now. But he will tell me about something that happened when he was 4, and I'm like, really, I can't remember. I'm so sorry. Yeah, but you wore this. I remember you wore this, and you said this. You were standing here. There was a window there, because they have photographic memory.
They have a photographic memory, basically. They have a photographic. So you employ somebody who's got a photographic memory. That will be invaluable to you.
Honestly,
do they really struggle? Are employers just not understanding this? Is there an opportunity for people like us to do an outreach and say to employers, please consider employing these people?
I mean, this is a good platform. I mean, especially in the Muslim community, mashallah, we have so
many businesses.
We have so many Muslim
takeaways, restaurants, all businesses. I mean,
we
across the city and county.
We would kindly request them to consider employing a neurodivergent person because they'll be an asset to their company. We would take on the training. We will tell them how to get the support. That's what we are here for.
And how is also
great offer there, really,
and how is also able to go into the employers and look at their sort of setup to see if there's an additional support that they can receive. So there's something called access to work. So they can employers can tap into that, the employees can tap into that to enable them to get that.
I can even do a pre-screening for the purposes of that to show that these are the needs and this is what is required.
Do you think the government needs to do more to support those businesses? I personally do, but
100%,
because they're an asset. They're an asset, and plus, to make the country productive and make GDP and to make the economy go, the more people that are in work, and the more people that are able to contribute, the better off they'll be. And actually, also, I think psychologically for those young people is really vital, isn't it?
Honestly, like the difference you see, so one of the mums of one of the individuals we've employed, she literally broke down in tears and said, I'd never thought my son would ever be employed, let alone he's now getting a salary. Like volunteering, all of that I could understand, but actually having a salary. And even the first day when he got his salary, we thought it'd be special to give him cash. So to give that money in his hand for that first time. And he was so overjoyed. He said, I will go shopping with this with my own money. And it was so good to see. And honestly, after that, just their commitment into work, we tell them they need need to be there at 9 o'clock. They're there at 8:30. You know, like the commitment is absolutely amazing. The work is amazing.
Yeah.
When we've taken them out, so we also do pop-up cafes where we go out to events and we sell, you know, the items like the teas, coffees, donuts, sometimes amazing food that Howard makes.
And
So
with the neurodiverse divergent people.
so
Yeah.
we put them out into the community so that it helps build their confidence, but also teaching other people about communication. So we'll say, look, they're neurodiverse, if you don't mind, and they will go over and they would order their food and they'll be patient about it. And we feel like that really helps is when we're out in the community, because other people can see, and they were so happy. We did get a bit of donation through that way as well, which really helped. But a lot needs to be done.
Do you find, and I'm going to make it a broader point really, the Asian businesses don't really understand, and actually the sort of larger businesses, you know, I mean Marks and Spencer's, Asda's, Tesco's, people like that do understand a bit more.
They do.
And they're a bit more accommodating.
They are. Yeah.
But then if you're comparing small businesses with larger businesses, obviously that is an issue. But if you're talking about large Muslim businesses, then they don't understand. But there is support out there. The government do support these businesses to employ people who have a disability, I would say, not only neurodivergent, but because we are representing neurodiversity support, we are saying that if there are businesses out there, we are willing to support them on how to employ a neurodivergent person.
And actually, the quality of life for that person is transformed, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Not only that, it's rewarding as well.
Rewarding.
And
So
we will be
rewarding.
following the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who from the beginning used a social model of disability where any disabled person was included in the community. So it is our responsibility to include them.
Yeah.
So if any businesses are listening out there and you want to get involved in this, please contact either myself or Hava or Shabana. We will give our contact details out later.
Yes, we will.
And you know, this is an opportunity. This is the holy month of Ramadan. Maybe think of things slightly differently. Maybe go out of your comfort zone, because it's actually quite comfortable to employ somebody who knows it's 100%, but actually try to change the way you think and the way you probably act and the probably way you look after staff is something different, but it's going to be much rewarding as well.
I mean, we're not asking for a full-fledged salary employment, 37 hours or how many hours. Start with small steps, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, and gradually build on it.
Even if it's volunteering to see what it's about, to give them the opportunity to say, okay, come and have a trial for a week, and we'll see how much support we can give you. And we do understand businesses, money is important, and they might not have the capacity, but then we can give that support.
Volunteering is fine, because then they can
it's free work.
Try it and see if it works for them.
They can trial, but once they're volunteered and they're happy with the individual, they would have to be employed to get the government support that we're talking about.
And is it a great deal of government support or not?
It's
would say it's fair. It's more for the individual than the business itself. So if, say, the individual has to travel and they don't drive, they're able to get transportation costs. Say they're going to be working...
job coach.
A job coach. If they need a office desk, something to be adaptable, that kind of funding is available for them, so they can get a sit and stand desk. They can get a chair with reclines, or anything that they need to be able to work without any extra expenses on the employer.
And do you find the bus services help, or are able to people who are autistic able to use the buses effectively here in Leicester, or has there been problems with people trying to use it? Because there's lots of training schemes, and I know the government's got some training schemes, but should there be more support for helping people to learn how to use the transport system?
I think with autistic individuals, it's on that whole social side of things. If they're not good in crowds and stuff, they will avoid the bus. But there are some individuals, just to give you an example, one individual that started using the boxing services didn't really come out the house too much, but from our understanding, we've been told now he takes 2 different buses to get to the boxing place, which sounds, that's just amazing. He never used to leave his house, and now he's taken 2 different buses to get to this boxing. You know,
Yeah.
if that wasn't there, he wouldn't have left his house. So we do know that some of the bus drivers are quite understanding, they're quite kind, and you know, when they know, they do give the right support. But we feel like that, you know, in even things like bus passes and things like that,
this is
it's
something
difficult.
where sometimes the buses
So do
can't
they have
control.
bus passes, by the way?
Yeah, they get free bus passes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some individuals do if they have the diagnosis. Like we said,
Diagnosis,
if you
yes.
have the label, then you can get the right support. But if you don't have the label,
So
then
actually
it's
being
difficult.
diagnosed
Yeah,
or being listed
listed. Yeah,
is really worth doing first.
definitely.
And after
Yes.
that, all the rest of the steps follow.
Yeah.
And the
Yes.
support follows to a degree
Yeah.
I mean, we are aware that the waiting times are very long.
for HCPs.
But there is a no. You see, when you say diagnosis of autism, that's different to EHCP.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're two different things.
Two different things.
EHCP is what the school does
Okay.
for them educationally in terms of support and their
This is separate
difficulty.
to that, isn't it?
It
Yeah,
is separate,
it is
but the
separate.
autism, a diagnosis and a formal diagnosis helps that. So
Right.
they look at the EHCP in a holistic picture.
Right.
From
Okay.
a holistic picture. So if you're going to get a diagnosis for autism, the best person to speak to is your GP, and they would be able to refer you to your pediatrician. But if your child is in primary school and the school is in agreement that this child might have something called autism, if they can write a report and you can take it to your GP, they might be able to refer you to something called Right to Choose. Okay, it's a private organizations that the NHS pays to do this diagnosis. It's not very quick, but it can take up to a year to 2 years currently.
Okay.
But it's much faster than the NHS.
As I say, I've
So there's
been
a
waiting for
huge
5
delay,
years.
isn't there?
I've been
Yes,
waiting
there
for
is.
5 years. So my son still doesn't have the diagnosis, but because he's got that label of development delay, he's getting that right support. So the EHCP, I would say I did have to fight a little bit for it. I did have to fight to say, I believe my son needs that support. And like Howard said, the nursery were amazing. They gave me the right letters, the right support to say, we know that he does need the support.
I
And
mean,
that
if
helps.
parents have enough evidence to support what they're saying, they have a right to ask for a statutory assessment from the local authority.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can request that yourself.
On a sort of wider point relating to this, obviously you got help from your nursery.
Yes.
We and I've been active in the campaigning for this. We need more people from the Asian community involved in local schools.
Yeah.
As school governors, as chair of school governors, and we fail as a community
We do.
to actually get involved.
Yeah.
And we need to change that as well. Because
That's
if
true.
you're not part of that, you won't see what you can do to improve things. And I know certainly in some of the schools in my area that we made sure that we got new governors into some of the schools there. And it makes a great difference.
It does, it does. We feel like if the community is there, their voices then will be heard. If you're not getting involved, then, you know, a lot of people say to us, we feel like we're being left behind, but that's because you're not being involved. If you get involved, then you won't be left behind. You will be part of that and hopefully move forward from it. But yeah, I agree with you in terms of our community does need to do a little bit more, get involved more, just be a lot more supportive.
More accommodating.
And you started this neurodiversity CIC charity. What do you actually do, and how do you fund yourselves? How do you get?
So the project started about 2 years ago. We started with a small part of funding from OPCC. So we do have Police Crime Commissioner to thank for us to be able to kick this off, and that's what we were able to use to
Start
actually
the money.
pay
Yeah.
the 2 individuals that we hired, and, you know, get the right equipment that we needed and everything. And it just kicked off from there. We were supposed to be doing it every 2 weeks, but because we were so inundated with the support that people needed, it was literally every week. We were at events, we were at places, we were trying to get out there. But then funding, like, you know, we said, there's lack of funding. There's not a lot of support out there. So we have had small pots of funding funding, we've currently been doing a neurodiversity and menstruation. So there's a lot of young girls that are going through things, but because they're neurodiverse, they don't know what's happening to their body. So Hawa has created a booklet which is more simple for them to understand and explain. If anybody does want a copy of that, you can get in touch. We're more than happy to send it out.
We have a few projects up the sleeves. Like we have, we'll be doing healthy relationships, especially in our community where parents want to get their children married abroad because their child is autistic.
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely need to talk about that, what healthy relationship is, and they should evaluate the situation before even going that far.
Going that far. And you know, it's charity.
Yeah.
So how do people get in touch with you, and how can they donate if they wanted to donate and support such a worthy cause?
Yeah, we've got our website, so neurodiversitysupport.org, along with our Facebook page. We're on Instagram as well, so you can find us, through all of that. I think we have set up a donation page,
Yes, we have.
which I think one of the biggest thing we are doing. So when we kept talking about employment, we have recently, I think it's a good news thing that we do want to share today, is we've been awarded a grant to get a coffee van.
Oh, mashallah,
So
fantastic.
it's not the full budget that we needed, but we have managed to get the majority of it. So from that, we'd be able to get the van, kit it up, and actually go out to the community and be able to employ neurodiverse individuals. So we're doing this.
Great.
Now we want other people to follow us and
Yes.
do it. So
we try and alternate these individuals so everybody gets an opportunity. We've got a long list of people
So how many
who
people
want
have
to be
you-
involved.
You've got a lot of people ready to start.
Yes.
But you
Yes.
haven't got the jobs.
No.
Oh.
So we've got people that are ready to go, they're motivated, they're ready for employment, but that, like we said, we need businesses, we need employers to be able to say, you know what, yes, I'll take this individual on. So we're doing what we can.
Yeah.
So we've got the majority of it to get the van and stuff, but we still need a lot of money to get the license. There is a lot of red tape that we have to go through. So the council license, the food hygiene. So we need to raise a little bit more funds towards that, and that will be a start for us to help our community and beyond. It's not just for our community, everybody is welcome. Anybody who's neurodivergent, I think for us, we're also disabled friendly. So anybody that needs support, please reach out, and we're here to help.
And also any organizations that would like us to come and do workshops, we are more than happy to do that.
So that's one of the
Do we
other
have a
things we
contact
do.
number or
Yeah,
webpage?
so our email is admin@neurodiversitysupport.org. You can contact us on our mobile. I'll give mine and then Howard can give hers. So mine is 079 345 91061. That's 079 345 91061. And Howard?
Yeah, it's 0794 666 0929. That's 0794 666 0929.
And you also have got a WhatsApp group. I'm on your WhatsApp group,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's how I contacted you.
Yeah.
So, and how many people are on that group, and why was it set up? And,
We've
it's
got
hugely information. It's
we've got
great,
3
isn't it?
different groups. One is the autism group, which has got all the parents and carers and everybody that's got over 300
Over
individuals in there. We've also got another one which is like the working group, so group of us that kind of volunteer and are doing the events and organising things. But then we also have the Cafe Neuro group where we're telling people about all the different projects that we've got going on. One of the other things I do want to just kind of let people know is we will also be doing a road safety. So thanks to OPCC again, we have got a little bit of funding to do road safety for neurodiverse individuals to make sure that they are safe, but also to help the parents help navigate their child while they're on the streets and on the road. So that's our next
Road
project,
safety is
road
really
safety. So
important.
if anybody is
Really,
interested
really,
in
really
taking
important.
part in that,
And we closely work with LMA and
yeah,
we put
do want to
in
say
with
thank you, a
boxing.
special thanks to LMA as our partners that deliver the boxing support. That's every Fridays. So definitely we do need to say thank you to them as well for being a part of neurodiversity support.
But thank you to both of you,
Thank
because
you for
you're
having
doing
us.
fantastic work. When you look at a place like Leicester's only the great city it is because of the people that live in this city.
That's correct.
And it's great because of you actually taking the time out to actually realise there's a need and actually do something about it and get people together.
Yeah,
Which is really, really the difficult part of everything.
I mean, Zafar, I have to mention as well that we don't you know, we also have our own jobs and we've got
Yeah.
other responsibilities. This is something that we do, you know, we take the time away from our families to concentrate on this, to help
Commitment
the
is
wider
massive.
community. Yeah. So, you know, we have our own full-time jobs, we have other commitments, we've got caring responsibilities, but we make sure that,
Yeah.
you know, we're out there to support the community. So I know that everybody else can do it too.
No, exactly. And thank you very much for coming on. We're running out of time now.
Thank you, Zafar.
But thank you, Hava. Thank you, Shabana.
Thank you so much for
If you
having
want to
us.
get in contact, it's a really worthy cause. You can either come to me, I'm available as Zafar Haq. If you Google it, it'll come up, Leicester City Council. Or you can contact Hava and Shabana. It's really important that we all get involved, all realise what special children and young people, these autistic people are, and how we can make sure that they bring us joy and happiness for the future.
And how
Just the
blessed
same.
these parents are.
How blessed they are really blessed parents. So you're listening to Radio Ramadan on 87.7 FM. Assalamu alaikum, and please join us next week, next Sunday, 11 till 12 o'clock. Health.